What's happening? I'm Saddam Hussein, and I just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard. Yee!
I got flavor, you know what I mean? I got flavor, drink with me, man. I got flavor.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We got LaRussell jumping off the porch with us today. What's up, bro?
What's happening?
Man, everything's smooth, bro. How you feeling?
I feel well.
That's
I'm
what's
alive. I'm breathing.
Yes, sir. Come on, man. Got to count them blessings every day, bro.
Come on.
Yes, sir. Welcome to Atlanta, man. How's it been treating you so far?
It's been lovely. I touched down this morning. I hit the radio. I hit Cadillac Chronicles. I'm here. I got a good nap in. We got the show later. It's a full day.
Oh, man. A full 24 hours.
Yeah.
Word. That's what's up, man. And you don't play about that hard work, man. Like, you don't play.
Come on.
That's what it's about, bro. And for those who've been, sleeping under a rock, LaRussell being one of the, let me put some respect on your name, being the top independent artist in the game right now, and really setting a blueprint for a lot of artists coming up, and just in the hip hop game, period. Mm-hmm. And you coming to us from Vallejo, California. We know the Bay, is big on, independent artists, and, just you guys have been setting the blueprint really since the beginning of hip hop, for real.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say is one of like your favorite aspects of like Bay Area culture?
The confidence in ourselves. Independence has been so lucrative and so successful from the Bay Area because we actually believed we could do it. We didn't cry that the infrastructure wasn't there. We just decided to go out the trunk and really build in our communities and really be where we from and cultivate that. We went for regional success, and that was like enough. Like, some of us have very sustainable careers off just being in the region because we didn't wait. We went to go get it.
And coming from Vallejo specifically, home of Mac Dre, home of E40, Fonzarelli, how much does that influence just the way that you move, today, and, just everything that you embody?
Completely. It's in the water. Like, how I talk and how I walk and the language and the game and the sauce, that all come from the turf. We had a bunch of ancestors before us who did it the right way, who laid the blueprint that allowed me to go take it to the next level.
That's what's up. And for those who have never been to Vallejo, how would you describe it? And is it a lot different from, other parts of the Bay? Like when we think about San Francisco or we think about Oakland?
Culturally, no. The difference is our ability to build sustainability within such a small ecosystem. Oakland's huge, San Francisco huge. Just here we was riding around in the lack, and I'm like, damn, y'all got skyscrapers. Like, this really a big city. Y'all got a stadium and an arena. Vallejo don't have that. You feel me? We got a fairgrounds. That's our largest piece of infrastructure. So to have such a small city, it's like our city is 6 exits, and still be able to rise to prominence and have influence within the culture from something that small is vital, because other cities that mirror our size don't have the level of impact that we've had culturally.
Right. And at a young age, what was inspiring a young LaRussell?
Not too much. Up in Smoke DVD. That was a big, vital part of my career and me deciding to be a rapper. But beyond that, music was just hobbyist. Even when I was young, I was just writing a lot, but I never thought, it was never like, I'm gonna make it and be a rapper. You feel me? Like, I was just living.
At what point did you make that decision to really take your craft seriously and know that it was something that was a reality and something that you could really do?
I'm gonna say when I finally got my compound, like, I moved from sleeping on my mama's couch to a 8-unit compound. you know, taking my journey. And I'm gonna say that's when I really jumped off, because I was really independent and standing on my own. That like nobody was assisting me with nothing. You know, I was taking care of a ton of people, shit, even before then, but I was taking care of a ton of people and a ton of shit on my own. Like life was on me, you know. It's like today, if I fall off and something gone, there's nobody who can help me with what I got going on. You feel me?
So many people that's watching this are up and coming artists, aspiring artists or executives, you know, people trying to get it in the independent way. How much fear would you say, you know, was in your heart when you were making these moves and when you were making these decisions to really take these chances on yourself?
Fear played a minute role in my journey, just because I had hyper confidence in what I was doing, and I knew I was willing to do the work it took. You know, it's not like I was jumping into an ocean, you know, and there's sharks and shit. And like this music, nigga, I'm making songs and marketing music and building community and throwing shows. It ain't too much shit to fear in that. You know, my biggest fear was being a failure and having to go back to work. And honestly, it's like, I did that for 20 years. So if I had to do that, that's what I was going to do to get back in the position I needed to chase this.
And I ask you that question like that because I want to enlighten people that's watching this, because so many people allow fear to hold them back instead of using fear as a fuel to move forward and to push through.
You know, I just told someone that some people take fear and they use it as a reason to not try at all. Yeah. And some people take fear and they use it as a reason to go all the way. And I was the nigga who was like, I gotta go all the way because I refuse to be anything less. Like I can't go back, you know, and I'm gonna use that. That's the reason why you see me 30, you look at my calendar and it's like, damn, you worked 30 days out of this month and there was only 30 days in the month, you feel? Like that's why it looked like that, because I refuse to have it any other way.
Yeah, and I mean, you had a kid, you know, right after high school, and I know that, you know, just the initial, you know, because fear is just not knowing what's next. A lot of times that's what, you know, fuels like that fear. And so that's why.
That's the irrationality of fear, right? There's real fear and then there's fear you create. Mm-hmm. Real fear is I'm walking through the jungle and I see a tiger. That's fear. Like that's real, tangible, nigga is right there. I'm gonna die, right? And then there's this irrational thing that you create in your head that's not really fear. Like that shit don't exist. Yeah. It ain't nothing there. You're not in no danger. No. There's nothing threatening your existence or your life. This is just some shit you creating in your head. You know, and when I got to the point of that realization, it really helped, because that's not fear. That's just some shit that you creating that yourself.
No, for sure. I think of so many instances where I may have overthought a situation or a scenario and then went ahead and pushed through and did it, and then came on the other side and was like, damn, everything that I was thinking about, none of it even happened.
Oh, God.
You know,
man,
so a lot of times we can hold ourselves back, you know, not knowing what's on the other side of that fear, of that cloud.
And all you got to do is open the door. You know, you'll let all those thoughts keep you from just opening the door.
Your original rap name was Tota Shakur. Why did you end up changing the name and going with your actual name?
You know, when you start to become a rapper, you go through all your phases of names. Like I've had like 10 rap names since I began, you know, and you go through these phases until you find something that feels like you, that's comfortable, that's within you. And when I finally made an album called Silence Won't Save You. That was like really my journey and my story. I was really telling my life, starting from Dollar to the Rich to Running to Scooby Snack. Like the songs were my story and my journey, and I really wanted to tell them as myself. You know, I felt like I didn't want to tell them under an alias. Like if someone heard it, I wanted them to be like, man, that's LaRussell's life and I relate.
No, I can dig that. Now, you're the king of D2C. Direct to consumer is, you know, like the basis of what you're doing. Even, you know, giving your consumers an experience, whether it's, you know, coming to your shows or, giving them an experience where, you know, they can, what is it, the pay what you want model, you know, where it's almost like a donation, you know, type of model. What inspired you to go that unconventional route and, you know, be so focused on the consumer the way that you are?
That's all I had. You know, when I started off my first show, every ticket I sold was hand to hand. Niggas was pulling up to my garage. All of the first merch I sold was hand to hand. I didn't ship nothing. We didn't know how to ship and set it up through ShipStation. None of that was even a thing. It was like, you got to pull up on me and get this. You want a ticket, you got to pull up on me and get this. You want a CD, you got to pull up on me and get this. I'll see you at the show. That was the only method of making it happen. And through that, I fostered a community that was just way grander than anything I could have built outside of that. So for me, that was my norm. I didn't know any other way. And as I scaled through my career, that's what's been the most fulfilling for me. Like, I love the fact that I could meet a fan one day and then I see them at the next 10 shows and I know their kid's name and I know their mama name. And, you know, I've had someone who their mother is in their 80s and he brought her to the first show and she like, I didn't even want to be here, but I keep coming back now. You know, like that's beautiful. You can't beat being an artist and shaking someone's hand and hugging them and they like, man, you remember my name, you remember me, you remember my face. Like, that's a beautiful experience that can't be beat, and that's a lifelong fan. You know, I'm not in the business of passive fans. I don't care for the people who like, oh yeah, I like a song by him, but I don't really care for it. You know, like, I'm not doing it for that. I'm really doing it to build community and change lives.
Yeah. And you created the Pergula, which is your venue that you built in the backyard of the home that you grew up in, which now is becoming famous like a House of Blues or like, you know what I mean? It's like becoming a staple, like, you know, these legendary hip hop venues that we, you know, hear about around the country. How did you come up with that idea to do a show in your backyard? And then also, like, not be worried about people knowing where you live and just, you know, putting yourself out there like that.
Man, I took a no and turned it to a yes. You feel me? My whole life, my family been throwing events at the crib and in the backyard. So this was another thing where it's like, it wasn't new to me. This is something I grew up seeing and being a part of and experiencing. And we did a release party early in the backyard. Me and my pops laid down turf and everything. And I was like the emphasis of like, oh, this is something. But, you know, we had a point where we were trying to book a venue in Oakland and the owner didn't understand what we was doing. You know, I'm like, nah, I'm going to do Proud to Pay and I'm going to do it this way and we're going to let people pay whatever they, you know, to a venue, to a nigga who been doing it for 20 years. That sound like I was speaking Swahili, you know? So it was like, I don't want to deal with the negativity of somebody else because they don't believe in what I'm doing. Let me build my own thing. And we was turning over dirt the next day. And now today we on version 3 of the Pergula.
Wow. And you've had some legendary people there. The juvenile, I call it the juvenile experience.
Yeah.
Like, that was, you know, really dope. I saw you had Sada Baby there, Mike Jones.
Lil Jon, Richie Red, Hurricane Crit, the list goes on.
Yeah, man. What's been, I mean, I'm sure it's hard to pinpoint one, but like, what's like one of your favorite moments or experiences that you've had at the Pergula?
I'm gonna say Lil Jon coming. You know, me and Lil Jon made I Got Flavor in my backyard.
Word.
And that's a record that, like, we perform at shows and to go off and people got to see me make that in my home. Like, we broke the mold of the industry of the big studio and the big producers and all these people and you need this. Lil Jon, a multi-platinum producer, came to my home and was like, I can't believe I'm here. And we made a record on the spot in the same place I grew up in. And my mama has royalties and she witnessed her son do this from a little pup who used to be in the backyard playing to, hey, Lil Jon here. You know, I think that was a really, really special moment.
Yeah. And Lil Jon is so dope. His connection that he has had just with Bay Area artists.
Yeah.
you know, over the years, it's almost like a magic, you know, that happens when Lil Jon connects with somebody from the Bay.
Yeah.
Can you just speak to your guys' relationship and how you guys, you know, connect and everything?
Man, me and Lil Jon are one and the same. You know, he's someone who, once we met, it clicked with the whole squad. Like, we in their joke, like, just the energy, it matched. You know, Lil Jon's at a point in his life where he don't have to work with nobody. So if he chooses to sit down and work with you, it's because it means something to him. And to have that energy and synergy, and knowing that he was the architect behind some of the biggest hits to come out of our region, and now I have the chance to do that, and he's hyper supportive. Like, we text all the time, you know, before the music was done, like, hey, I'm finna do this. You know, he's one of the first people I told, I'm finna try to sell 100,000 albums, you know, and it was like, hey, go this way with it, do this. You know, hey, what if we need a partner? What do you think we should do? I would do this. Just how I go. Like, he's an open book. He shared all the information he could share, told the stories in the studio, whatever we need. You know, even down to pairing me. You know, I was in the midst of like swapping engineers during the time, and he ended up putting me with his engineer. He like, hey, this is my guy. He the best at what he do. I think y'all should be connected. And now he does all my stuff. You know, like, just those simple connections of putting people in the room and putting things together is what he does.
Yeah. And Lil Jon is in a different space as well nowadays, just with his focus on health and physical health as well as mental health. I know he's dropped like 2 or 3 meditation albums, and he's, you know, just in a whole nother zone.
In a whole different zone.
Yeah. And it's dope to see that he can go from, you know, like, still his sound, and he hasn't changed anything in terms of the sound, the quality of production, things like that. But then the fact that he can also hone into, like I said, the meditation realm, and, you know.
It's all him. It's all one and the same. Like, it's all one and the same. He doesn't change or shift characters to do those things. Like, all of those derive from him. It was so crazy watching that nigga in the studio record ad-libs. Because the Lil Jon you think is in there, like from the old videos, is like that same energy and tone, but at a transcendent level.
What is the phrase, if you build it, they will come? What does that mean to you? Because that seems to be like a basis of, you know, what you've been doing.
Man, it means you got to start before you can monetize the art. People can't shop at Walmart until you build one. Ain't nobody went to Disneyland till he built one. You ain't used no iPhone until he built one. Like, it's getting ahead of the curve instead of waiting to see what the consumer wants and trying to follow a trend. Doing it and allowing people to exist in that space. Nobody thought they would be seeing their favorite artists in their backyard. Nobody thought that people would pay $1,000 for that. Nobody thought a little black kid from Vallejo independently would do the Super Bowl. You know, these are all things that we got ahead of. We built it and we allowed people to come into the space. If it ain't no door to walk through, ain't nobody gonna walk through the door.
Yeah, nah, that's real. That's real. I mean, you have to have that confidence to do it, and there has to be someone to start it. You know, otherwise you're just gonna be a spectator
waiting,
watching somebody else. And how many times have, you know, we've seen somebody doing something that we've had an idea on, and it's like, damn, you know what? I was thinking about that some years ago. Oh, but this other person, they just took it a step further and actually went and did it.
Man, one of my superpowers is I act fast. You know, I'll fail forward really quick. I'll do something that's like, we're gonna just try it and see. And, you know, I got such a great team that anything we do, if we get to do it 5 times, by that 5th time, it's going to be a different scale and level to it. Yeah. You know, so we act really fast on ideas that we have, and we bring them into the world to see if we actually like it or not.
Yeah. And one thing I can appreciate about you is that, you know, you're willing to share the game. Like, you're not, you know, gatekeeping, like, you know, the game and some of the strategies that you use, but then you're also even vulnerable about, you know, just your journey, you know, and your song GT Coupe, like, you talking about investing money losing money, car getting repossessed, you know, just all of that, just letting people know that what they see now, the success that you see now, this wasn't, it didn't just start like that. Like it was a lot of work that had to be done, and even L's that had to be taken, not losses, but lessons.
Yep. Yeah, it's necessary, you know, and I think transparency helps everyone thrive in this society, because we live in a world where we got to witness everybody do great things or have success through social media. We witness all the celebrations, but not the other end. You know, it's like now I set a goal to sell 100,000 albums in 30 days. I didn't sell 100,000 albums in 30 days. So now I got to sit with the fact of like, damn, I didn't hit what I went after, but I sold 20,000 independently from Vallejo, you know, which is still a crazy achievement. And that's something for people to learn and know, like, yeah, I didn't go all the way that I thought I was going to go, but I made it to here because I tried to go there.
Yeah, yeah. Now you got to set the ceiling high, and you got to dream big. Like they say, if your dreams don't scare you, if they, you know what I mean, then you're not dreaming big enough.
Yeah.
So you have to set that window, because if you would have only set your goal to say, hey man, I want to sell 20,000 albums, you probably would have only sold 10 or 15.
Yep.
You know? You just spoke on performing at the Super Bowl. That's huge, bro.
Yeah.
Congrats on that too, man.
Come on.
How does that feel with the Super Bowl being in the Bay and you being able to perform and just knowing that you're doing this in a non-traditional way? You know, you're not an artist that's backed by a huge machine, being played on radio, you know, 50 times a day and being pushed out in front of, you know, the masses from a machine. But this is something that you and your team and your family has built, bro. How fulfilling is that? Very,
you know, and it's perfect alignment. You know, I seen it early. I called it last year. You know, I tweeted out, I'm finna perform at Super Bowl. And I made that a reality for myself. It was no way this thing was gonna come to the region, you know, where I'm at, and I don't have no participation in it. Like I willed that into existence, and to be in this position doing it feels incredible, because we really showing people how tangible and possible it is. Like nobody pushed the button for me. We pushed the button for ourselves. We got up every single day and we worked and we vouched for ourselves and we told the world why this is important. And even when it was like, we don't know, we might not get the approval, we don't know, I went and I pushed for the approval. I went and got a 200-piece marching band and said, hey, let's shoot this. I'm gonna use this as a pitch. You know, I didn't wait. Man, when we were sitting with Hov, he was like, you know, artists have budget constraints, and sometimes they like trying to get, they like, man, the label won't give me this. He said, I never had that issue. I ain't never waited for the label to release me a video budget. If I wanted to do a video, I went and shot a video, you know, and that's something that is real. That's been my reality this whole time. If I feel something strongly, I'm just gonna go execute it. Even if I gotta lose paper, if I gotta lose whatever, I'm gonna go bring it to life so I can have it tangibly to present. And, you know, I feel like that was a big part of us getting that position. I went and campaigned for myself.
I appreciate the humble stunt, you know, when you was sitting down with Hov.
Oh, yeah, you know, something like.
That's a dream come true, though, you know, being able to, you know, for so many of us who've been a fan of Jay-Z, you know, for so long, what was that experience like, being able to sit down with him and somebody who has also, you know, done things his way and on his own accord, you know, for him to be showing respect to you and what you're doing?
A dream come true. Hov is the freest nigga I've met. You know, we meet a lot of people who in this game who got bosses and got handlers and got who don't own you know, Hov is the freest nigga that we've met. You know, he got to sit at that table and be like, you know, I don't want to boost my own ego, but I'm the nigga that you want at the table, because it ain't nothing they could do for me. You know, like that's a special place. That's how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
And to meet somebody who surpassed everything that I've done that's been astonishing, it's like, man, we sitting in his office, you know, with this view. This is something that he built with his own hand and his own teams from a vision that he believed in. And to meet somebody at that level who's matured in him. This is the same nigga who made Big Pimpin', but also the same nigga who made Story of OJ, you know, and Family Feud. You know, we got to see him go from Big Pimpin' to 444 and see the maturity and the transition and the growth of a man. Not a nigga who in his 50s still being a boy and still on childish shit, but a nigga who really turned into a man and told us how. Hov didn't hide no game. You go listen to them albums, it's all there.
Yeah.
You feel me? He didn't withhold no game.
No, for sure. Now, in 2018, if somebody would have told you when you were quitting your job and when you were pursuing this, that at this point right now, you'd have features with 40, with Snoop, you know, be working closely with Lil Jon and like just so many of the great people that you've been able to work with, having meetings with Hov, would you have believed him?
In 2018, I would have believed it. Prior to that, probably not. But in 2018, I for sure would have believed it. You know, I was in it at that point where it stopped becoming a what if, and it was more so of a when.
Now you dropped 7 albums last year.
Yeah.
Why do you drop so much content the way that you do? Even, I mean, the albums, you dropping content every single day, and you're not like putting stuff as unlisted or hiding it if it doesn't have as many views as like the other videos. Like you're really a product of like, you know, just dropping consistently and not even caring about the numbers necessarily.
Man, you had a job before, right?
Yeah.
Why you go to work every day?
Man, I was trying to get that check every 2 weeks.
Exactly. I go to work every day, just like everybody else go to work every day. You feel me? Like I'm hungry and I want it. And I have a product that I believe in, so why would I not tell you about it and him about it and him about it and everyone about it if it's something that I believe in? You know, I don't get a salary or a check from anybody. I got to go hunt. If I don't catch nothing that day, then I don't eat. So every single day, you know, I'm trying to put something out there to show people why I'm worthy of the position I'm in.
Word, no, I can dig that. And you've also given fans opportunity to be able to also invest in your music where they can, in the long run, make money as well. Can you kind of speak on that?
Yeah, you know, we kicked it off, I think 2021, we did gold cards and we did stock, you know, and I got a lot of people who some people got GT Coupe, some people got 10s, 20s, some people got baggage claim, some people got What We Doing, Yanking, some of my top songs. You know, I just really wanted to incentivize people early on who believed in what I was doing to come be a part of it, you know, and I always felt like this was going to scale to a height that no one could imagine. And I knew what that looked like. I've seen my royalty payouts go from 1 cent to thousands of dollars a month. I've seen my homies payouts go from 1 cent to thousands of dollars a month. So I felt like if I could cut the people in on that, you know, and I had a vision, I'm like, man, one day in 10 years, 20 years, there's going to be somebody who does all the marketing for me, because they're going to get these statements and they're going to be like, man, I invested in LaRussell 20 years ago and I just bought this property with this. I just sent my kid to college with this. You know, I just wanted to allow people to have that experience as a consumer. They blow us up. You know, all I could do is make the art and market it and promote it, but somebody got to consume it. And I wanted them to be a part of the success of it too. Not just watch me become successful, but be able to become successful with me.
No, absolutely. And the, you know, you given the experiences that you give from your shows and what we were talking about earlier, and just being so D2C, so direct to consumer, with your fans, with your customers, fans, family, as you like to call them, then also giving them even more vested interest in this, knowing that in the long run, they can make money as well. I mean, that ties somebody in with you for life.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Can you talk about Good Company? Your company, is it a label? Is it a creative agency? Like, what do you consider it? And then I just want to talk about you also empowering your team and, you know, just being so focused, you know, on that aspect of things.
I think the best description of it is a community. It's not a label. We don't sign nobody. You know, I think one day that may be a thing. I'm really into rebuilding and cultivating what Motown did. Like the origin of record labels, not today's record labels that we see that don't really want to be record labels. That's like, hey, go get yourself hot and let us benefit off of it and come pour gas, but more the essential of like, hey, we believe in you and we believe in this and we gonna do everything to make other people believe in it, you know. But I look at it mostly like a community. Like I've gathered people around me who believe in what I believe in and who's willing to go to war for that to execute whatever vision that we got.
Something else that I appreciate about you is like your focus on your live show and the fact that you make that, you make such a big deal about, you know, giving people an experience. And then even to the point to where I feel like when you have other artists come and perform there, you're forcing them to perform in a different way and to actually, you know, take it more serious. We hear about how so many artist tours are being canceled. And I've been saying that that's because people don't want to come and just hear you rapping over your lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, like you can rap in your car somebody's lyrics, like if you go, you know, just
you
go
want
to
an
a
experience.
Yeah, you want an experience. Can you just talk about like you really focusing on the craft of performing and why that's so important to you?
Honestly, it's like, it's just a result of our efforts and our practice. You know, when we perform, I don't have no set list or nothing. It's really a free form show. All the homies are free to play whatever they feel. And we use the crowd. They get to make recommendations on what they want to hear. And we just flow. It's not like this hyper focus on like, I need to provide this kind of experience. It's just we in there together. And you know, that's how you cultivate experience, by allowing everybody to participate in what's going on.
Nah, and that's the fact that like your shows are that way. I've even seen some of your fans say like, man, I've been to 10 LaRussell shows and none of them are the same.
Yeah.
You know? So you really giving them a different experience every time.
You can go see a show today and come see me tomorrow and get a completely different show. Every time.
No, that's dope. Your song with Wiz Khalifa, I Might Be, on the Cushion Orange Juice 2 project. Well, do you remember like recording that song and what that vibe was, and then how legendary was it for you to be on that Cushion Orange Juice 2?
Iconic. Hell yeah, I remember it. And I remember going to a prior. I had told the homie Mike G and Simon, I was like, man, send me a pack of beats. I'm gonna go through and narrow them down, and then we're gonna just play a few and we're gonna let Wiz pick. And I was one of the ones that was just like, man, this going. And as soon as that beat got on, Wiz he was like, load this up. And it was like the energy and the vibe was there. Me and Wiz made 3 joints that day in like 2 hours. Like we was back to back with it. You know, the space was just filled with that feeling.
Yeah. Can you talk about your song Area Codes 95489?
94589.
Produced by my guy DJ Monte.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I made that song, and this nigga Nando, it's actually a zip code. But what I did, I released 94589 solo, but I made the song while I was on tour with T-Pain, and Nando was on tour with us. You know, Monte was just kind of giving me beats as I was going. I made that song in a dressing room, and I think Canada, maybe.
Word.
Like, I think Canada. We were just in the dressing room, and I laid that joint, and I remember telling Nando, I'm like, man, I'm finna put this out. If you got something for it, throw it on there. And he had a verse, and he killed it. But, you know, we was in Mo. I completely forgot. I got back home. We dropped that thing. And then, me and Nando kind of chop it up, and he see the blueprint. It's like, bro, this how you go and you get your motion. And he did a video that ended up going viral with his verse on the song. So he hit me. He like, man, can we drop this version? Yada, yada. I'm like, man, I already dropped it. But what you could do, just drop the remix do it on your end, do whatever you need to do, and get it out. You know, I didn't want to stop his motion, so I allowed him to do his thing, and he dropped the area codes version, which is streaming too. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, nah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And what would you say through all of your experiences thus far? What's one of the biggest life lessons that you would say that you've learned?
That's tough. That's tough. I think something that kind of sticks with me is like, you really get what you work for. As cliche as that sounds, you know, anytime I'm in a space where I'm like, man, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I should be bigger, I should be this, it's really like I just didn't put in enough work. And I may have put in far more work than somebody else. You know, I may have did far more, spit far more, but our journeys is separate. And, you know, for where I'm supposed to be, my journey is always reflective of the effort, energy, and time that I put into what I want. And, you know, I've had them early days where it's like, man, why it ain't happening? And it was all just me. Like, it's like, bro, you got to do more. And somebody else could have done far less and got there before you. But for me personally, it's like I had to do more to get to where I was. And it's fulfilling. Like, I got the Super Bowl because I worked really hard. It wasn't just a gift from someone like, hey, you should have this. Like, this is some shit people seen me for the last 5 years. I'm still relevant. You know, my first big viral moment was in 2021. My first album was in 2018. I'm still here today, 8 years later, and I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'm only getting bigger. You know, to hold it down for that long and maintain relevance. How many artists you know disappeared? They gone. Like we seen the song, we seen the moment, and they gone. I didn't have no big record. I'm here solely off like my will.
And that's from you being intentional in the moves that you've been making. Like what you were saying, like putting together your own campaign to make it to the Super Bowl, manifesting it, and then putting in the work that it needs to be, not just saying I'm gonna just leave it in God's hand. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And then one more thing I want to ask you about the Am I Musty song and the visual that you did with Marshawn Lynch, where you had beast mode, you know, y'all riding in the
cart,
in the NFL cart. Yeah, that was just a crazy visual. What was that day like, man? Like kicking it with bruh?
Man, that was a really beautiful day because we didn't know if that was gonna happen or not. You know, I pitched Marshawn the idea, and I'm like, man, I really want to recreate this. Like, it was like that was an iconic moment in his career, and I was like, bro, this gonna go, you know. And we didn't know if we was gonna be able to pull it off or not. He just hit me one day, and he was like, hey, I'm filming this stuff in Oakland. Pull up and chill for the day. And I told the homies, I was like, we just gonna go kick it with him, do whatever he need. If we get to get that in, great. If we don't, it's like, nigga, we got to hang out with Marshawn for a day. That worked too.
Yeah.
But just through the day, you know, he started putting it together. He the one who called up to Berkeley and was like, hey, we finna pull up, bring my card out. We need to, like, just me showing up and participating and being supportive, even if I didn't know if I was gonna win at the end of it or not, is what got me that opportunity.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And you know, from performing, you know, so much in the Pergula, you know, in the comfort of your backyard, does going and doing these shows like out of town and at these other venues, like, does it, like, have you ever gotten to a point where you've gotten so comfortable doing your shows at your venue that it's almost difficult or you know what I mean, like kind of difficult to do shows at these other venues?
Never difficult, but you know, it is a difference. You know, doing the outside shows makes it fulfilling to go back home. Like, I remember we was on a Chance the Rapper tour, and I got to come home for a bit in the middle, and I did a pop-up show as soon as I got home because I get to like tell my hood and my niggas like, man, this is what we doing, this was going on. So it really makes the backyard shows even more fulfilling, knowing I could come all the way to Atlanta and sell 650 tickets and go back home to my community and be like, man, this is what we learned, this is what we did.
Yeah. Word, man. That's what's up, man. And what you working on right now, bro? What you got coming up that you excited about?
Hella shit. Super Bowl, you know, mainly that's just gigantic. But a whole, man, I'm just grinding. I'm in it right now. It's so much going on. There's so many opportunities coming. This finna be my biggest year yet.
Yeah.
It's hard to even ingest it all in words, dog.
Right. Man, that's what's up, man. And any shout outs you want to give before we get out of here?
Yep, shout out Splash, shout out T, shout out Hen, shout out Hurst, shout out Yasion. Shout out Mally, they hit my dog up at the airport, found those little plastic things in his bag, got him.
Hey, no good. Thank God Ice ain't pick him up or nothing.
Not Ice.
The way they been doing. Shit.
Oh God, nigga, and fuck them niggas too.
Yo, straight up, man. Yo, man, LaRussell, I appreciate you pulling up, rocking with us, blessing us with your energy, jumping off the porch with us, man.
You heard.
Well wishes to you, bro.
Come on.
Years ago, I was barely getting by. Outside, finger in the sky. See which way the wind blowing, then let it fly.